Welcome. My name is Martin Salama. I am the architect of the Warriors Life Code, life standing for live incredibly full every day. And I'm doing a YouTube video interview here, and this is something new for me, and I'm very excited. And this will be one of many things that I'll be doing on YouTube. As many of you have seen me already on Facebook, Facebook Live. As a matter of fact, if you saw me recently, you saw me with Dani on Facebook Live, and we had such a great conversation. We decided to bring it here, and I'm going to introduce to you Dani. Hi, Dani. How you doing?
Woohoo! I am fantastic and so
Beautiful.
excited for that
Beautiful. So let me tell
opportunity.
everybody a little bit about you. So Dani Ferrara is the author of the book, The Collateral Effects of Success. She's a life coach, life purpose specialist, University of Michigan entrepreneur and speaker. She's devoted to empowering men. Oh, I have a little, hopefully the lights are not going over there, to empowering men who have a lifetime of conventional success, switch off the status quo and make bold moves to create an epic life, like me, epic life, without burning out. She loves to work with you, she'd love to work with you so that you could experience not only the same sense of confidence, fulfillment, and purposeful success, but also the best story of your life. And she has a quote here: mighty purposes, an essential element. It maintains the sparkle of enthusiasm always shining, as well as the light of the true joy of life. How beautiful is that? Well, welcome. I love what you have, what you put there, and thank you for sharing that with us. And I'm so excited for you for your book. So before we get going, tell us a little bit more about yourself. I know that you live in Brazil, so that's exciting for me here in New York. Tell me a little bit more about yourself.
Well, I live in Rio de Janeiro and I am a life coach basically for a little bit more than a year. And that's my passion. I discovered that's my purpose. And about my personal life, I have to tell you that my favorite hobby is traveling. Yes, that's my passion, my second passion. Let me put it that way, definitely.
Right, right. Travel is up there in my top two or three. Number one for me is cooking, but I love to travel. And for me, cooking came along after my divorce. I had to learn how to cook, and it became such a passion now that I love to do it as well. But traveling is definitely up there, right there with that. So yeah, fantastic. So you told me that you just recently became a life coach, like about a year or so ago. So what motivated you to become a life coach?
Yes, since I was a teenager, I have always been so fascinated with self-improvement because when I was a teenager, mindset, that word itself, it was so cliche, but at the same time, I have heard about many miraculous stuff, and I decided to study. And what is that about? And what's the magic? And something that I learned about mindset, by the way, just a few days ago, it's more than a mind mind frame, or it's more than a mental attitude. It's something like no matter what happens, your self-worth doesn't depend on that. So I decided to become a life coach first because I was a huge fan of self-improvement. And second, I have I have been having the opportunity together to earn so much information, so many pieces of information. So I thought to myself, I have some kind of duty to share that. And I feel amazing about that opportunity because there is a quote. Um, it was, I think it was quoted by Da Vinci. It was something like uh, he had a marble, just a huge piece of marble, and he was asked about how can you sculpture amazing things just by seeing that huge piece of marble. And he said something like, yeah, basically, I can see that there is an angel there. I just chisel that piece of marble so then I can set him free. And that's the whole idea. It's
Right.
magical.
Right. I know that quote. It's basically the angel is in there. It's about me cutting away the rest of the pieces for it to become free. Something like that. But right. And that's the same thing with life coaching. But I'm interested to hear. Tell me about your life that, for myself, I know what got me to become a life coach. It was the past and the negatives that happened in my life that affected me that I needed to figure out how to get to to help myself. And I was when I was younger, I liked to help people, but and then I found myself I needed help, and I started to go through stuff, and I realized life coaching was something I can help others with. Did you have something like that in your life as well?
Yeah, yes. Thank you so much for asking. Absolutely. It was something like uh, I rather to tell. I have to grab some water. I love telling that I had some kind of just a second. Um, what I used to say is I had some kind of middle age, an early middle age crisis. I am
Oh,
close to my 40s, and when I was 30 and just many, I am almost 40, and when I was 37, 36, I was kind of everything is amazing, great marriage, great job. I traveling a lot. I am doing exactly what I dreamed about, but I'm not happy. And what's going on, Because I was supposed to find the fulfillment, the desired fulfillment, but that's not happening. And that caused a lot of self doubt because you start to think that there is something wrong about yourself because what's going on because you have everything that you have always wanted, always dreamed about, but you are not happy. So that's what the trigger, not only about my life coaching story, but also about my purpose and also about that so called express to your fullest potential. Because when you say that you are self actualizing, it has to do with something that you love doing and something that has to do with helping people. And when you manage to get both together, it's where you find that fulfillment, that happiness that really, it's more than happiness. I think fulfillment is appropriate. And that's what basically helps us to see life making sense. It's one
mhm.
of the things, definitely.
Right. So if I understand correctly, we all have these dreams of things we want in our lives, right? As you did. It was a family, it was to be married, it was to travel and all this and have a great job and all that. And you got it all. And when you got there, you're like, is this all there is? Because those were your goals. And you said, well, I hit all my goals. But what's this something missing? And you realized that a goal that the life is a journey that you have to keep continuing to grow, even though you get to your goals, because you're going to go, okay, I got my goals. Now what? So that's what I'm hearing you're saying is what prompted you to say, I now that I understand that and I've figured out how to move forward, you put together this book and you're coaching to show people that success is not everything, it's part of the journey.
Yes, absolutely. And something that I really like uh, talking about um, is something that I call the right game, because society tells us that if you have the right wife or husband, if you have the right job, if you have the right kids, if you have the right retirement or whatever right idea you have or society has when it comes to being happy, that's the right game according to them, but not necessarily the right game for yourself to yourself. So it's really important to start just to rupture or shifting those old paradigms. I think it's essential if you want to really uh, broad your vision about life, about fulfillment, about happiness, about life quality, whatever it is. It's really important to just break those patterns, and
Hmm.
that's something that limits us a lot.
Right.
So that's
Absolutely.
the first idea. There is no such right game. And second, let's shift those paradigms once for all. That's the
So
most
true.
important.
So true. So let's talk about your book. The collateral effects. How to escape from a life of frustration and reclaim a life of fulfillment. So what's it all about?
Yes, I have just talked about paradigm shift, and my book is the whole purpose of my book is to break many of those paradigms. And in order to do that, I put some metaphors, and my favorite one is life is like a huge video game. That's something like I love talking about first because when you are playing video game, you are so excited when it gets harder because you see that you are evolving, you are learning. Yeah, now I am in a more advanced stage, and that's something that makes ourselves just great about what's going on. On the
Hmm.
other hand, when it comes to life, we don't feel that way. And that huge game, there is a purpose. We are playing a game where we are here basically first, as I told you, to evolve. And
Right.
second, to love more. It's
Yes.
really necessary. If we know every single time that we play a game, and if we know the rules, if we know how the game works out, we have so we have a lot of chance to just win or get well in this game. So
Hmm.
that's the first idea. It's really important to know the rule if you want to start to getting well, and in this case, that happiness. And it seems like it's happiness just works out, or we just uh, experience
Hmm.
that
Right.
feeling. It's so popular, but it's not. But again, there is no recipe, of course. And I love idea that I learned recently that there are many options to accomplish that. It's like there is a metaphor, a banquet at your disposal. So pick something that feels pleasant, feels yummy, but unfortunately, we tend to go after, to run after things that society or whatever says that it's a good idea.
Right.
So
Right.
it's hard. That's
Yeah.
the whole uh, purpose, just right off the bat to
Gotcha.
start doing about that
That's a
process.
fantastic. I love that. I love the idea of the video game because it's true. You don't think about it. You don't think about, oh my God, it's too hard. I can't do it. You just say, I'm going to figure this out and I'm going to move forward. And if you take that life lesson into yourself and say, stop saying I can't do it and just figure out how to get it done,
Yes.
just keep being persevering. So, yeah. So now you talk about in your book about an alarm clock, the topic of the fear of being an alarm clock. Expand on that.
Yes, yes. I love that idea because basically, when we are afraid of something, our first reaction is going through the survival mode. It's something that is automatic. Yeah, when we were cavemen, fear served really well to defend ourselves against dangers. And it happens that we are not trying to survive anymore. We are not in a jungle anymore in a broad
Yeah.
sense, you know. Now it's an opportunity to thrive, not to survive. So every single time that we feel in pain or kind of afraid of something, it's a moment to just stop and reflecting what's going on and what is motivating that alarm clock, because that's what it is. It's a warning, it's a sign warning to just stop and to stop and pay attention to what's going on inside yourself. Because when we are afraid, when we are paralyzed, it seems like there is a foggy and we stop seeing things properly. But if we just stop and if you are willing to make that effort to dissipate that foggy, you see that everything gets clearer and you have the opportunity to make better decisions or make some adjustments in your life and change the course of things. That's what is fear about, an opportunity to stop and change the course.
Fantastic. I love it.
That's
I
the
love
whole
it.
idea.
Fantastic. I love it. Fantastic stuff you're giving out. Really, thank you so much. The stuff you've given so far has been so invaluable, and I hope everybody in the audience is enjoying having listening to this conversation. But you know what? What would you say is the greatest takeaway from the book?
Yes, the greatest takeaway is first, as I told you, challenges. And one of the most difficult aspects in life that we feel like detracts from our happiness is about challenges, because we feel like, how dare the universe does that to me? I don't deserve that. Why am I going through that? We feel like it's an offense, when something challenging happens. And it's really important to to see the challenges as maybe as a gift, because for example, if I hadn't gotten through that middle age crisis, I wouldn't never experienced that fulfillment. That's
Right.
the first. There are many episodes in many people's lives that we can see things that we at first face as negative. They were brought to something better. That's
Right.
the first, to turn challenges into gifts and to see that at the end of the day, they make ourselves stronger. And there is a quote that it's Joseph Campbell quote. It's something like, the bigger the monster, the greatest is just the man. When you are able to fight a huge monster, that makes ourselves stronger. And
Right.
that's exactly what we must think about.
Right.
Challenges are not here to just challenge challenging us in a negative way. It's something that is basically to learn. It's an opportunity to grow and learn.
Yes. So a few things that you mentioned there. Number one, I say all the time to my clients, to my audience, that the moments that are your lowest points in your lives are the greatest times for self awareness and self reflection, because you can look in yourself and say, what's happening here? What's going on? Like in my divorce, when I lost all my money in 2008, and then in my divorce, it was a time for me to reflect and understand what got me here? What steps did I do to put me in this position? And how can I fix myself going forward? It wasn't about what did she do and let me blame her. It was about let me look at within myself. And then the challenges that you talked about, the challenges, the monster, the big monster that you come over, that you overcome, and you become greater for it. That's exactly why I called my course, my coaching, the Warrior's Life Code. Because as you go through, and we all go through adversity, if you've ever met somebody who hasn't gone through adversity, please tell me, because we all have adversity. And when you come through the other side and you slay the monsters that are in your way, whether it's literal or figurative or within your brain, you are now, and you could say that I am stronger for it, you're now a warrior and you're
Perfect.
stronger. And that's how you become part of the warrior's life code so that you could, or on your way to live incredibly full every day. And that's what, you're bringing here. And, last week when we spoke a few times recently, and you were on the live Facebook live stream with us, with me, and we talked about this very important word that's gotten a lot of talk over the last 10 or 12 years, thanks to somebody named Brene Brown. And that word is vulnerability. So let's talk about the importance of vulnerability and how it affects your personal relationships and really every part of your life, your work, yourself, everything.
Yeah, it's one of my favorite topics because when you allow yourself to be more vulnerable, which is first is not a sign of weakness. It's something that requires so much courage, And Brene Brown, as you have just mentioned, has some quote or idea of we must be just tough, but at the same time, just have that warm heart because if we just put that wall, we cannot communicate, we cannot exchange with people properly. And I was talking to you about first the importance of the relationship and the importance of building deeper relationships. It's not just a trivial one or trivial relationship. It's about the importance of building pretty valuable. And I mentioned research by the Harvard University. It took almost 8 years. It started in the 40s, in the last century, 1942 or something like that. And they took almost 700 people. Half of them were students from Harvard University, and the other half they were picked from the uh, from poor from the from poor neighborhoods in Boston, and they were analyzing those people for, as I told you, for 80 years, and they were able to analyze their state of mind, their physical health, and their age span, many uh, just sides or many um, topics, let me put it that way, were analyzed when it comes to the way people would go through their lives, you know. For example, let me give you an example. Um, Someone who really had bad habits, smoked, and that person was sedentary. And at the end of the day, that person has a better health. That person has uh, something like general health. If we compare to someone who was living in an isolated way or without any purpose in life, that person was kind of dying just in a gradual way if we compare to that person with bad habits. And that's not Danis' conclusion. Professor Robert Weisinger, I don't know if that's the way to pronounce his name, but Robert told us that, quote, loneliness kills, period. And that's something that called me attention a lot because we say a lot how important it is. It's important to be healthy, but it's not the focus of that research. The focus of that research that alludes to vulnerability is, folks, if you keep yourself just buried on your cell phone and Netflix, and if we just spend your life working, if you don't manage to build deeper, true relationships, you are gonna die faster. Your life quality is gonna be poor.
Right.
You know, we have to understand the importance of relationships. There is an expert in positive psychology. He told us something like, if I had to just talk for 5 seconds, relationships matter, and just live. That's the most valuable idea. You want to be happy? Okay, relationships matter. Bye. See you soon. Because
Right. Right.
that's
So true.
how important is. It's something that I am talking about in a such dramatic, or
Such
I
passion.
am, yes, I am being so emphatic because I can see, and it's safe to say that we are so distracted. We are living in a such crazy way, and we forget to pay attention to what is the most important in life.
Right. So
People,
true.
love, and that's the true way that leads us to happiness
Right.
and fulfillment.
Absolutely.
Relationship, capital letters.
Right. You know, in the 60s, in the 1960s, the Beatles said, all you need is love. And that's really the
Yeah.
same thing here. So yeah, I get you. You know, loneliness kills. I agree. If you put yourself into there, if you don't allow people in, you will die from the inside. So 100%, I get that 100%. So, you know, recently there was an article of yours talking about pessimism and optimism and something called the Stockdale paradox. Could you
Yes.
tell me about that?
Uh, it's something that I wrote last week, and I haven't before writing. I hadn't heard about James Stockdale, and it's such an interesting story because basically he was um, in the Vietnam War and he was captured, and basically he spent almost 8 years captive, and
Wow.
yes, yes, he was tortured frequently. And the most valuable idea that he brought from that experience was, it doesn't matter what is gonna happen. I'm gonna make it alive, period. And he told something like, the optimistic, of course, optimistic people just they died pretty quick because they thought, yes, it's all done. I'm not gonna survive. But the optimistic people, they didn't go so well, basically because, yeah, everything is gonna be all right. I'm gonna just go through that at the end of the month or on Easter or Christmas or Thanksgiving or whatever. But Easter came and they didn't go through, and Thanksgiving and Christmas, and that kind of would kill them just gradually because they got disappointed and broken heart, you know?
Right.
And the idea is, it's not about seeing things in a just bright way. The whole idea is, it's about having clarity. And second, exactly as you told us, it doesn't matter what happens. No excuses. No matter how difficult, I'm gonna do that. Because basically we feel like, yeah, that situation here didn't work out because I had so many obstacles. It doesn't matter. You have to overcome. You want to go through, you want to just see your family again. Great, awesome. So keep yourself alive and with clarity of mind
Right.
to
Fantastic.
make better decisions. It's not about, yeah, it's great having positive thoughts. It's great. It's something that's pretty useful. It is, because there is an idea that says that, yeah, if I am not optimistic, I am not gonna just fly, let me put it that way, because I'm gonna just be afraid of the airplane crashes and I die. But on the other hand, maybe if I am not a little bit pessimistic, I wouldn't have just invented, or something wouldn't have invented a parachute, of course. But the most important mind frame is, keep yourself with clarity of mind.
Great.
Okay,
Fantastic. I love it.
that's the most important idea that James Stockdale brought after spending 8 years as captive,
Wow.
you know.
Wow. Unbelievable. Especially from someone like him who spent that much time. He understood that it's about staying clear throughout everything and having the clarity. So it's beautiful. I've really enjoyed our conversation here today. Thank you so much for joining me. So, if for people that want to get in touch with you, how can they get your book? How can they get in touch with you so that we'll put this down below in the comments, in the YouTube comments. And by the when we're done, when we post this, it'll have the links for those so that they can get in touch with you. How can they contact you?
Yeah, there is a domain, just goexponential.com. It was inspired in exponential life, exponential fulfillment. And
GoExponential.biz.
go, yeah, yes, go, exponential dot biz. Perfect. And just before I say goodbye, I just would like to add something like, I love, it was a quote by Franco. Yes, Franco. There was another captive, and that captive from the camp, um, from the Nazi camp. And he was a doctor, and he spent so much time. It was something like, don't chase happiness. If you want to be chased by happiness, just learn how to love more, how to uh, concern about people's happiness, and after that, happiness is gonna chase you. You
Right.
know, it's something that happens in a natural way. Of course, your dreams matter, but it's
Right.
not just about yourself. You know, it's about being happy and making
Hmm.
people happy as well. That's the whole idea.
Fantastic.
So go exponential dot biz. Thank you
Go
so much,
exponential.biz.
Martin.
Right. And from what you said here, if they go to goexponential.biz, they can download your book
Yes, it's free. It's for free there.
for
Yes, I
free.
put
You
there.
have your book for free.
Yeah, yeah,
How wonderful is that?
good.
And everybody in the audience,
Yeah.
how could you not take a free book from someone who's got some unbelievable concepts here? So thank you so much, Dani. I really appreciate you coming on. And for everybody out there, check out my other channels. I post original life code warrior content every week. Make sure you subscribe to all of them. Each page has different content to help you enjoy life and live incredibly full every day. On Instagram, it's the Warriors Life Code. On Facebook, it's Martin Salama. It's my personal page, and I put their live streams. And like what you're seeing here, and comment and tell us what you're thinking about, and subscribe to the channel. It's the way we get to grow this. Once again, Dani, thank you. Thank you so much for joining me today. It's really been a pleasure having you here. And everybody, don't forget, live incredibly full every day.